Greece defined a whole generation through its music, fame, and childhood dreams. But for many famous Grease cast members, life after Ryle High wasn't at all like the picture we have in our minds. Some stars died of terrible illnesses, others got hooked on drugs, and a few ended up in jail instead of playing to sold-out crowds. People even talk about affairs and shady deals that were never in the press. Who's gone? Who is in jail? These people from Grease are either dead or in jail. O. Newton, John Olivia. First, let's talk about Olivia Newton-John, who is better known as Sandy Olsen, the sweet heroine in Grease. She went from being a sweet girl from a small town to a sexy singer, making her even more famous as a pop star along with John Travolta. Some of the most famous songs she sang were You're the One That I Want and Summer Nights and Hopelessly Devoted to You. When she was 28, she took on the part and negotiated the character's country so that she wouldn't have an American accent. This helped her get the lead role in the movie. After the show, she had to deal with scandals and mental problems. In 1979, she sued MCA Records for breach of contract over royalties. It led to a huge settlement that changed the way artists are paid in the business. She also dated cameraman Patrick McDermott for a long time, but he disappeared during a fishing trip in 2005, leaving her with no clues about what happened. A lot of people said that he faked his death and was living in Mexico, which was very upsetting for Olivia. Even though she was famous, things went badly when she was told she had breast cancer in 1992 and had surgery and chemotherapy to treat it. In 2013 and 2017, the cancer came back and spread to her spine. She gave a lot of her money to cancer studies and helped start the Olivia Newton-John Cancer and Wellness Center in Melbourne to inspire other Opal. After 3 decades of fighting breast cancer, she died in 2022 at the age of 73. Still, her music and movie parts will always be remembered, but she's not the only Grease cast member who died of cancer. Anne-Marie Charles. Annette Charles played Charlene Chacha de Gregorio, who said she was St. Bernardet's best dancer. She is famous for dancing the hand jive with John Travolta's character Danny on the TV show Ryle High Dance Competition. She had a successful acting career before Grease. She was in a lot of TV shows, including The Bionic Woman, Magnum P.I., Bonanza, and The Incredible Hulk. She went to school after Grease, got a master's degree in social work at New York University, and then became a professor. Did you know that she was in a lot of pain during the Thunder Road scene in Grease because she was pregnant with a tubular baby? This is when the fertilized egg starts to grow in the fallopian tube instead of the uterus. That's why she stood on the cars all the time. As soon as she was done filming, she was taken to the hospital to have surgery. By the middle of 2011, she was in the hospital with pneumonia. Later, her mother told her that doctors had found a deadly growth in her lung. It was strange because she didn't smoke. She passed away at her home in Los Angeles in August 2011 from effects from lung cancer. This is Eddie. Now, let's look at a well-known cast member from Grease who is in jail. Eddie Deezen played Eugene Felnick in Grease and Grease 2. Eugene was the geeky kid at Ryle High who wore glasses. In movies like Midnight Madness, I Want to Hold Your Hand, 1941, Million Dollar Mystery, and War Games, he was known for always playing the nerd, but after a few years he started having a lot of legal problems that put an end to his job for good. He was caught in November 2021 for refusing to leave a restaurant and hurting police officers by throwing things at them. He was charged with assault in the second degree, disorderly behavior, and breaking and entering. Then in April 2022, he was caught burglarizing a 4th-floor apartment in Maryland. They were warned not to go into a private care home without permission and were then charged with 2 counts of trespassing and disturbing the peace. Even before these cases, he had been accused of breaking into neighbors' cars many times, which led to more trespassing charges. A Maryland court said that he was not fit to stand trial because of an unnamed mental health problem a few months after the case in 2022. A judge told him to get mental health care at a state center until it was clear that he was no longer a threat. It looked like he had been dealing with mental sickness for a long time. He was famous for playing comedic roles and doing voiceovers in shows like Dexter's Laboratory and Kim Possible. However, his charges were a sad turn of events. His life had many ups and downs, but our next Grease cast member had a stable life until she died suddenly. Eve Arden. Eve Arden was known for being a very good actor who could easily Ange things up on the spot. Many people were shocked by how well she played Captain McGee on Grease and Grease 2, the strict chief of schools at Ryle High School with a sharp tongue. She brought a bit of old-school elegance to the part, thanks to her sarcastic wit and quick one-liners. Her work, which spanned about 6 decades and included radio, stage, film, and TV, was impressive even without Grease. She is best known for her part as Connie Brooks in Our Miss Brooks. Eve was also nominated for an Academy Award in 1945 for her role in Anatomy of a Murder. Eve had a history of bad marriages. Her second marriage ended after 11 months of marriage. But a shocking story hurt her marriage when it came out that she was having an affair with a married executive from Hearst. She was also in trouble during the 1952 presidential race when she said something hurtful about Adlai Stevenson that was taken as homophobic and insensitive. When her health got worse, her fans were heartbroken. It was heart failure, arteriosclerosis, and consequences from her cancer that killed her. In a strange way, she always lied about her age. Thus, the people did not know she had died at age 82 until they saw the dates on the tombstone. However, our next Grease star was liked by many and died at the age of 46. Hey, Dennis Stewart. Dennis Stewart played Leo Craterface Balmudo in Grease and Grease 2. He was the tough boss of the Scorpions gang and Danny's rival. He started out as a dancer and was in Sun Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Dennis has also been in Wonder Woman, Moonlighting, MacGyver, and The A-Team. Even though he became famous early on with Grease, he had trouble with typecasting, and over time, he had fewer chances to be in movies. He stayed out of the public eye most of the time, but many people in New York knew that he was gay. He got HIV in 1993, which was bad news because it made his health get worse very quickly. In 1994, when he was only 46 years old, he died of pneumonia caused by AIDS. Some say he was burned and his ashes were spread out at sea, while others say he was buried with his mother. Even though he died too soon, his role as Craterface is still remembered as one of the most memorable bad guys in the history of musical movies. Another thing is that he was one of the famous people who died of AIDS in the early 1990s. Dennis Stewart was the first Grease star to die. But as you may have seen in the video, he won't be the last. He wasn't as well known as our next Grease star, who was often in trouble with the law. I'm John Travolta. John Travolta is one of the most famous actors from Grease. He played Danny Zuko, the T-Birds' charismatic boss. After his success in Welcome Back, Kotter, Saturday Night Fever, and Carrie, that part made him a leading man of the time. A Primetime Emmy Award and 3 Golden Globe Awards have been given to him, making him a well-known actress. He was also up for 3 Screen Actors Guild Awards, 2 Academy Awards, and a British Academy Film Award. His fame has put him in the middle of a number of scandals and court problems. Even though he wasn't found guilty in any of these cases, they did hurt his business. In 2012, 2 anonymous masseurs sued him for sexual harassment and attack, each asking for $2 million. One said it took place in Beverly Hills, and the other said it happened in Atlanta. Both cases were dropped or thrown out because flight records and other proof showed that John wasn't at the places where the incidents happened. Defamation cases were also brought against him by Robert Randolph, but all of them were thrown out by a judge. It was around this time that tabloids published old pictures of John Travolta cross-dressing. Many people said it made his late wife, Kelly Preston, sad, but he didn't want any kind of marriage scandal. Besides these issues, his career has taken a big hit from a string of movies that didn't do well at the box office and were criticized for being poorly made. John Travolta's biggest problem was with the law, but our next Grease cast members had different kinds of addictions that killed them. Jeff Conaway. It was great to see Jeff Conaway on Grease. He played Danny Zuko's wild best friend Kennick, who wore a leather jacket. But he kept getting work after Grease. He played Bobby Wheeler on the show Taxi and Zach Allen on Babylon 5. Because he was addicted to cocaine, alcohol, and prescription painkillers, he had a lot of problems, even though he was successful in his work. This happened after he hurt his back badly while shooting the Grease lightning scene. In 2008, he went on Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew and openly talked about his ongoing problems with drugs and pain. He was kicked off of Taxi because he missed too many episodes and behaved badly because he was addicted. His ex-partner even filed a restraining order against him, accusing him of theft and violence. This was likely because of his drug use. These were later thrown out. In May 2011, Jeff was found unconscious at home. He was taken to the hospital and put into a medically induced sleep. He died 2 weeks after his family asked that his life support be turned off. The autopsy showed that the coma was caused by a number of medical conditions, such as aspiration pneumonia, sepsis, endocarditis, coronary artery disease, and encephalopathy, all of which were linked to years of drug abuse and repeated overdoses. The next Grease star's cause of death is still up for discussion, but Jeff's was clear. Lenny Baker. Lenny Baker was also in the Grease Assemble as a member of Johnny Casino and the Gamblers, the band that played at the Ryle High Dance. His work was recognized as being part of Shauna. He was a very good actor who had many other parts that went well. For example, he won a Tony Award in 1977 for his role in I Love My Wife and was nominated for a Golden Globe for his role as the lead in Next Stop Greenwich Village. It's interesting that on the first night of I Love My Wife, someone broke into Lenny's house and stole his TV and bar mitzvah ring. In the end, he PPED playing in 1979. A reason for this was that he had been identified with thyroid cancer and had to have surgery. The surgery hurt his vocal cords, which put an end to his starring career. There were, however, many stories at the time and even many years later that he died because of HIV. He died in Hallandale Beach, Florida in April 1982 at the age of 37. He had been sick with cancer. Lenny seems to be the Grease cast member who died at the youngest age, and he was also one of many people who had been sick with cancer. Still, not all of them had to deal with cancer like Ed Burns, who is our next favorite Greek. Ed Burns played Vince Fontaine, the smooth and charming host of the Greek high school dance competition on TV. But he didn't need Grease to get his big break. He got it in the 1960s when he played Cookie, the cab driver who became a teen detective on 77 Sunset Strip and was crazy about hair. Even though he was famous, he struggled with drug and alcohol abuse in the 1970s and 1980s after he stopped playing Grease. But he joined a 12-step recovery program and didn't try to hide his problems. He told everyone that he had reached rock bottom.